if any woman undergoes violence in any form, so they should be
Yes.
aware that they have to come out and seek for support. And as a family, they have equal responsibility to educate the girl children. Like a lot of things have to be changed. How they see each and everything that has to be changed.
Hi everyone, I welcome you to the show Million Voices with me, Ajit Kumar from Reach Scarlet. Humanity is the breath of the earth. The purpose of human life is to serve, show compassion, and the will to help others. Especially at the times of disaster, we have witnessed the power of humanity. So let us welcome the guest of the day, Mrs. Sajita Spellman. So, hello ma'am, welcome to the show. It's been an honor.
Hi Ajit, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, let me start from the question with PCVC and what are the services you provide?
PCVC was started. PCVC means it's an International Foundation for Crime Prevention and Victim Care Organization. It was started in the year 2001, and we work for victims of domestic violence, mainly with women and children. And our services include we provide counseling services. We have a 24 hours crisis line where we receive calls from women who are victims of domestic violence or who will be in a crisis situation. So we provide them phone counseling. And if they need shelter, it's because they are not able to stay at their own place. It's because it is very unsafe for them to be there. Then we provide them shelter. We do risk assessment for them, and we provide them legal services, any legal services if they require, if suppose if they would require a protection order or a filing on a divorce or a maintenance case. We support them with the legal services. We also help them in providing job opportunities for them. So
Okay.
and we also network with the nearby police stations in and around Ananagar, and we do receive call cases from counseling cases from the police stations as well. So we have a project called Vidial where we work with burn survivors. So we call it as DV and burns. We collaborate with KMC Hospital and we do our services there. If you see like some of the glaring facts that the female the burn survivors getting admitted in the hospital, or that almost 60 to 70 women gets admitted in the hospital every month, and almost 80 to 90 percentage of them die due to third degree burns, and very close of 90 to 90 percentage of incidents happen because of domestic violence, and they come from very low socio-economic strata, and they use kerosene to burn themselves. Though they say like initially they don't reveal that though the lot of cases of self-inflicted, it's because of domestic violence. That is the triggering factor where the women are being pushed to that situation. So yeah, so these are some of our services that we do in PCBC.
Ma'am, you're talking about the background of people. So, is this only from the low background or educated people or also getting this terrible decisions and
So when
situations?
I say the burns, especially burns in DV, it is from a very low socio-economic background. So, but DV persists all over all the community. It cut across all the caste, religion, community, upper class, middle class, lower class, whatever it may be. So that were the cases that we received. So we receive from almost all the. It cut across the caste, community, religion, etc. So, especially in case of burns, we a lot of cases are from a lower socio-economic strata. So, where the kerosene is available for them, or they don't have proper, sort of awareness, like where they have to reach when they have a problem. The husband might hit her every day. The family might, she faces a lot of violence on a daily basis, and she doesn't know like where she has to go and ventilate or where she has to get support from. So at one point of time, she is out of her control and she harmed herself. So that is the
Okay.
case that happens in Burns.
So talking about approaching, so do women usually approach when they undergo such violence, or what happens if they do not approach?
So women, like like we are living in a culture as such, like women are subject to like keep quiet when something happens in their family. So that is how we have been brought up in our family also. So a woman should be very soft. She has to like not to talk much and things like that. So majority of the cases, like women sometimes they don't come out and share their problems. If they undergo violence in their family, or say if it is a husband, they don't want to share it to the other family members or their friends. It's because they are being subject, they are being brought up in such a way that it is all part and parcel of their life, and they have to just take it over it. Okay. So it is really hard for a woman to come out of such situations, but they have to like a lot of awareness are there as of now. So women are able to approach the organization or the or the police, like where they would get
NGOs.
support from. But I would say the ratio is very very less. Again, if when I'm talking on this, it's not like only the lower class women, or like they are not able to, they are not approaching it. It cut across again all the classes of women. It may be educated, uneducated, or whoever it may be. So what that women have to understand, one thing is that if they are not going to reveal what is happening to them, or if they are not going to share to the family member or to their friends, I don't say that they have to share it with everyone, but to some extent, like they should have this awareness, like it has to be shared with some person who she can believe, you know.
True.
So otherwise
True,
the
man.
perpetrator, the husband or whoever it may be, is not going to stop the violence. Okay, it is still in his hands, and he will continue to do the violence against her. So that is what the situation is. So I would rather say that if any woman undergoes violence in any form, so they should be
Yes.
aware that they have to come out and seek for support, so that they will get solution for the problem. It
Sure.
is so many women, why they don't come is like they are dependent on the husband. They don't work
Yes, ma'am.
financially, they are dependent on the husband. So in such situation, what happens, like they have a fear, like what are they going to do if they have to come out of the house with the kids. Okay, so that is where like we thought like we have to make the women financially independent. So we
Yes.
network with a lot of stakeholders, we connect with a lot of stakeholders and see to that like women are financially independent. So that is the
Okay.
major thing I would suggest, like every woman have to come out and seek for support and stand for their rights.
True, ma'am. True. So, ma'am, if there's a stat that's saying that 43,650 women every year have been undergoing this domestic violence, especially by their partners or by their family members. So, what role does family plays in violence against women?
Yeah, when we say family, so in Tamil we say Kudumba Vanmurai. So the violence starts from the family. It doesn't, immediately starts from outside or from some other unknown person. Of course, it is there, but the violence starts from the family. So from the family, in the sense like the family plays a vital role in bringing up a boy and a girl, right? So like how do we bring up a boy or a girl in the family? That's the major question still. uh, of course we are ahead now, like like women are women have equal rights, they are educated, but still the ratio says like women are subject to be violence. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
they undergo violence.
In some of the states, it has been quoted that recently, in 2011, the ratio to men and women is 1000 and 191. Sorry, 919. So, which
Yeah.
show it is from the after independence, it is the very lowest ratio. So even some of the people, they are aborting. It is happening, and they are also killing their own daughter. Not only during the birth, it also happened because of some. If they are not accepting the words of their family, it is
Yeah,
happening. Like we used to say,
yeah,
religion murders, caste-based
yeah.
murders. It's all
Caste-based
happening.
murders. Yeah, yeah. It's all still there. So, like, how we it's a known factor that in an equal relationship there is no violence. There should be an equal relationship. So that equal relationship starts from the family, where the family treats the boy child and the girl child equally, starting from the education, food, or how they treat it. Because sometimes, a boy learns from from his father, like how he treats
Yes.
her mother, treats his mother. Okay, that is the first education for a boy to learn from the family. So that is, the family plays a very major role in this part. So as a family, like, it's a responsibility that each family member have to take, and teach both girls and boys, or treat them equally. So equal relationship, in a equal relationship there is no violence. So that is a
True,
thing
ma'am.
that we all have to understand. Yeah.
All right, ma'am. So, statistics from the Union Health Ministry has released that every third woman since the age of 15 has undergoing domestic violence in various parts of our country. So, what are those triggering factors that forces women to take terrible actions?
Yeah, so it's not like I mean, if I say the burn survivors thing, it is not like suddenly they took this decision to harm themselves, to burn themselves.
Hmm.
No, the violence has been, constantly it has been there in their life. Like every day they would come, they would hit them, or some husbands are very suspicious towards the wife. They cut all the relationship in the family, and the woman, she doesn't know like where to seek help. So there are women who have approached us, have told like, the her husband would have told her that she's not supposed to go to her family, she's not supposed to speak to her sister. So all the relationship has been cut, and the violence has been still continuing in her life, and she's not able to know like where she has to go and seek support from. So in such
Okay.
case, what she does is like, finally she decides, okay, it's not worth for her to live, and so she harm herself. So those things like women have to be aware of. Like, we can't just go by what they say. So we just
Sure.
have to think, articulate, and like to find a solution. Definitely, they have to seek for support.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, some crime against girl childs between the age of 7 to 13 are happening, ma'am. So, how to make them aware that they are first of all being harassed?
We have to properly educate the girls. So like nowadays we hear a lot of things in the news. A lot of things are coming in the news, as like the violence against, sexual harassment against a girl child. So there should be a lot of education. So we in our family, like, normally we don't educate our girls. We don't talk about the
Yes,
good
ma'am.
touch,
We
bad touch.
hesitate.
We hesitate to do. We hesitate to give them that sort of education, kind of a sex education or something like that. We never do that, because we don't think it is necessary for a girl, for a girl child, to talk about all those things in the current scenario. But we have to educate them. We have to tell them like what is the safety precaution, like when someone approaches them, which is not making her comfortable, then she has to recognize that. So that education is very very important. As a parent, as a family, they have equal responsibility to educate the girl children. There's nothing harm in it, that like there's no harm that if she's going to if we are going to educate her on these aspects.
True, ma'am. True. So, ma'am, coming to the workplaces, some women employees being harassed, but they are hesitating to seek support. The reason is only because they are in the mindset that they may lose the job. So in those situations, how they can combat themselves?
So that's what, like, they have to, in any situation they have to approach the proper, like they have an ICC committee, internal complaint committee in the organization. They have to approach it. It's not like, like when they approach the organization also have to give them the way that, if a woman undergoes such harassment at the workplace, uh, the 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 organization will take proper action. Okay, so they have
Yes, ma'am.
to, there's nothing to hesitate. It's like we have to go and give proper complaint in written to, to make the organization understand, like, they have to sort help for.
So, as we are talking about the workplace, we have committees for against sexual harassments. But coming to the common place, where it is not a workplace, it is not a responsibility of any corporate to take care, but to work against these sort of harassments against women in a common place. Do you think there should be some changes should be driven in the education system? Actually, we were talking about that we should teach a good touch and bad touch. So these stuffs, including even sex education, should be included in the education sector we are undergoing today.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there should be some education that has to be inserted, uh, concerning the current scenario. Also, the community as a such, the people as a such, like the society as a such, uh, like a lot of things have to be changed. How they see each and everything, that has to be changed. So like as I told you earlier, like, it's more important that they have to be educated, right from the school. Like, if we educate them on all these things, on gender, so, like lot of gender based violence are there. So we have to,
Yes, ma'am.
like educate them on these aspects, and like we could see some changes in the future thing.
All right, ma'am. So you have been serving in the industries for several years. So what are the common struggles you face? How do you motivate these kind of people to come out of those painful situations? Because it is going to be really tough. As you said before, if a woman is undergoing such terrible action, they are already in a situation where they cannot do anything. So once they approach you, how do you motivate them?
So the common struggle, I mean, which we face as an organization is like, we don't get support from the family. It's because when a woman
Yes.
approaches us, like, she has undergone some violence on, like something, like it could be a husband or it could be her own family forcing her for something, say for marriage, or, they don't understand her. So, something like that. Like, when we stand by what our clients say and we support them. Okay, sometimes the family, they accuse us and they don't understand as a community, and from the family we might not have any support. Okay, so that's where, like, but we go with the clients, and we ensure that we are with them, uh, with them, like, throughout the process. For example, sometimes they complain to the police station. When they come here, they complain on us in the police station, but
Mhm.
we face it and we say, like, that there's nothing to worry, because, like, whatever has been done is according to the law and order only we would go. So there's nothing to worry on that. So that sort of support and trust we give to our clients. And there are sometimes, like, the economic empowerment part, as I say, like, initially for a burn survivors, it was very difficult for us to get them a job. It's because for a burn survivors, after the incident, they're physically, they'll be disfigured, their appearance, they'll be disfigured, and they'll have scars and things like that. And many of the employed, they don't want to employ them. So that was a major struggle for us. Then slowly we initiated, we spoke, we started to speak the stakeholders, and we thought like there should be some sort of, like someone should really understand them as a
Yes.
community or as a people, as a society. Like sometimes they don't accept them accept them. It's because they are disfigured. So that was one of the struggle, but we overcome that. And a lot of our burn survivors are now employed in Writers Cafe. We have a collaboration with Writers
Okay.
Cafe. A lot of our girls are being employed in Writers Cafe now.
All right. So, what was the moment when you felt that PCVC had its greatest leap forward, ma'am?
So one is like, like there hardly few organization work for domestic violence. So PCVC is one of the organization which work for domestic violence, and we strongly believes we keep our client as a center. The clients will decide for themselves. We can give them options, we can tell them like these are options available, but the ultimate decision making authority is be done by the client. And we have seen a lot of clients who have taken that decision or are all living happily independently, and they also stand for their rights. So building like a lot of stakeholders. So we just don't want PCVC to be in Chennai itself. We wanted to extend our support services to other districts. So we started to network with the stakeholders. So all over Tamil Nadu, all over the districts, like we have stakeholders now. So our services is being extended to other districts also. So ours is not subject only to Chennai, but we are able to extend our services to throughout Tamil Nadu. So over the years, like it has been, like we were working on it to for these achievements.
Ma'am, you are saying that you people help those burn survivors and motivate them and develop them with skills and employ them to stand on their own legs. So please share a story where you have experienced a person who developed in such a way and being a motivation and inspiration to others.
We have a client, the incident happened a few years back, and she had a very severe burn injury. So we have first degree, second degree, third degree burns, and her degree of burns was almost second degree and third degree burns. And it was a larger journey for her. She lost her vision in
Okay.
both her eyes, and we have to get her a treat for that. So that was one, and also it's because of burns. Like she has to undergo a lot of rehabilitation services in terms of physiotherapy. She has to undergo a lot of wound care things and things like that. So it was a very a longer journey for her. So it almost took 4 to 5 years for her, almost 2 years for her to recover. But still on the process of daily we say like she's recovering. Even after the eye treatment, like one eye she's not able to. The vision is completely lost, and in the another eye she had just has got 10 percentage of vision. With that she manages her daily living, and slowly she underwent a lot of psychosocial interventions when she was at PCVC, both physical and psychosocial interventions. In terms of physical interventions, as I told you, like physiotherapy, she has to undergo wound care, she has to give a nutrition supplements for the wounds to get healed and things like that. In terms of psychosocial aspect, she has to undergo a lot of counseling, motivational talk, recreational activities, social outing. Monthly once we take them out for social outing. The main aspect of social outing is to reintegrate them back to the society. So this was a whole process that she has to undergo. So once she is ready to do her daily living and she's ready to go for job, she's been employed in a company as a receptionist. And slowly, like she gained experience in that. And then she said like she wanted a change in her job. She doesn't want to stick to one job. She has a vision problem. When she walks on the road, she has to be very careful, but she's very bold enough to handle herself. That's the thing that she got when she was at PCVC. And she said like she wanted to have a shift in her job, and then she was shifted in a cafe, in a writer's cafe, and she's working there now. She has almost underwent 21 surgeries, 21 reconstructive surgeries, and she's living her life independently.
That was
And
very
she's a role
inspiring,
model for
ma'am.
all of us. Even for us, she's a role model.
Great, ma'am. So, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here with us. I'm sure as much as I got inspired, our viewers would also got inspired. Thank you for that, ma'am. From the family of Rich Cullen, I wish you a very great success in your journey ahead. So, dear learners, let there be justice for all. Let there be dignity and peace for all. Let us rejoin our hands together to change the fate of our society. So, let us meet up again very soon with another inspiring voice. Till then, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Reach Skyline. Embrace digital.